let's talk about this thing we call the gradient intercept formula. All it means is this formula here. You would have seen it before, y equals mx plus b. Any linear equation can be written in this form. Okay, linear equations, remember, a graph is a straight line. They don't have any x squareds or x cubes in them. They're linear equations. So what do these letters m and b represent? Well, m is the gradient. Every straight line will have a slope. It'll have a steepness. That's what the gradient is. It's a measure of how steep the line is. It's always the coefficient of x, the number in front of the x. B is the y-intercept, because if it's a straight line, there's only one point where it will cut through that y, that vertical y-axis. That is our y-intercept, and that's this number here. The plus b represents the y-intercept. So let's have a look at an example. Y equals 3x plus 2. I can see the number here in front of the x, the coefficient, is 3. So it has a gradient of 3. I can say it has a slope of 3. The number here without any pronumeral, the plus 2, that's our y-intercept. It cuts through the y-axis at the point plus 2. It cuts through the y-axis at plus 2. That's it. M and B, the gradient and y-intercept, okay, included in our equation. Let's have a look at another one. Don't freak out that there's decimals in this. They could be fractions. They're still numbers, but the rules are still the same. The coefficient of x, the number in front of the x, the negative 12, is my gradient. So I'd say it has a slope of negative 12. Now, hopefully you can remember, if a gradient is negative, that means it slopes up to the left. If it's positive, it slopes up to the right. Looking at the number here, plus 17.2, that's my y-intercept. That's where it cuts through the y-axis. Let's have a look at one more. Y equals minus 4x minus 32. The gradient, the number, the coefficient of the x is negative 4. Now, be careful, you have to include the negative sign. It's not a gradient of 4, it's a gradient of negative 4. This number is negative 4. So the gradient would be negative 4. And finally, same with the b value, or the y-intercept, you've got to include the sign. So it wouldn't be 32 in this case, it would be negative 32. If I graphed that, it would cut through the y-axis at negative 32. That is the gradient intercept formula for linear equations. Well done.